Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is for you. And there's been some talk going around our gardening community, and I think it was started by Mountain Grandma, and I'll have to look that up, but I'll put her link in the description. She started a challenge about eating grasshoppers, and I won't eat grasshoppers. They're yucky, but I will talk to you about the bugs that you can eat if you are in a desperate situation. I normally do my videos in my kitchen, but my kitchen is full, and I mean full, of vegetable and various plant starts. I don't even have a kitchen table anymore. It's all plants. So I'm going to sit here in my living room and talk to you about the different bugs that you can eat for a survival situation. I keep a notebook. I'm a prepper, and I'm always looking for different survival techniques or things that you might need to have in order to survive. And I go through my daily life and I go, okay, you need to eat. So I did a vegetable garden. I have chickens. And that sort of thing. So, you know, you can survive on your own food, grow your own food. And then I think about, well, I need to stay warm. So I have heating sources that it's a do-it-yourself kind of heating source kind of thing, to stay warm, you know, warm clothes and that kind of thing. And then you think about water. So I have water storage, and I have 2 well pumps on my property. And other things that you need to think about. What about if, and I have seen where a fire goes through and it wipes out your garden and your property. So you need to eat. You can always find shelter if you really want to. You can always find a way to keep warm if you really want to. And but I'm thinking about food. You know, what if suddenly all your food source was wiped out? So I have a book that I keep all these questions that I ask myself, and then I'll look things up and find answers. And it's not a pretty book. It's my prepping information book to kind of help survive if I need to, or I have some information at hand. So today we're talking about edible bugs. This this to me would be like right before cannibalism. I mean, it would have to be pretty desperate for me to eat these bugs. But you know, you never know. If you're hungry enough, you're going to eat the bugs. So let me show you and tell you about some of the edible bugs that you are able to eat safely. And not all bugs are safe to eat. So let me give you some examples. And any bugs that you decide to eat, you know, crickets, grasshoppers, anything like that, you want to slow cook them first to destroy any bacteria or parasites. If you're in a position where you've got to resort to eating bugs, you don't need any other problems that comes with that. So make sure you slow cook them first to destroy bacteria and parasites. So let's get into it. First one is crickets and grasshoppers. They're both high in protein. They're cooked, or you can cook them or eat them raw. Crickets, you find them under rocks, boulders, or large logs near meadows and pastures. You do get some crickets in the desert, but I don't get a lot of them. They're very few and far between, but if I go up toward higher up on the mountain where the creeks and the trees and things are, I can find crickets. So let me show you some pictures. Okay, those were your crickets. And grasshoppers. You can eat grasshoppers. You find them in arid and open living environments where grass is plentiful. And like with the crickets, I don't have a lot of grasshoppers here, but we do get them. And the higher up on the mountain you go, the more foliage there is, more grass, and lots more crickets, or grasshoppers, crickets and grasshoppers. So let me show you some pictures of the grasshoppers. Number 2 on our list is locusts. Locusts are rich in calcium and protein, and they travel in swarms normally. So they're just, you know, there's not much to say about them. They're just really ugly. They remind me a lot of a large grasshopper, but let me show you some pictures of those. And one thing I think you would have to eat an awful lot of if you were hungry is ants. You can eat ants. But you do not ever want to eat a fire ant. That will put you in a world of hurt. Those little buggers are, they can bite. They give you a really nasty bite. I've experienced that here in the desert. I accidentally stood in a little hive of them, and it was in like a thick grassy point, and I didn't realize I was standing in them until they went up my pant legs, and yeah, it wasn't comfortable. My legs swelled up, and I had red marks, you know, blotches all over my legs. It was terrible for days. So don't eat the fire ants. If they do that to your skin, can you imagine what they do that to your insides? Probably not a very pleasant experience. But if you do eat ants, you want to boil the ants before you eat them. Don't eat ants raw. Ants can leave a very bitter, vinegary taste in your mouth, and you always want to make sure you cook them. They provide protein and iron, so they're actually good for you if prepared properly. Never eat them raw, but they can help you sustain if you're in a position where you need to do that. But please, no fire ants. Let me give you some pictures of these ants. And the next one on the list is June bugs, or June beetles. They thrive in arid climates. We do get them out here. I find them in the garden every now and then. You can grill them or boil them. They're black, hard-shelled beetles on and under plants. And sometimes they come in different colors. They can be even a little bit different shapes. So let me show you some of those. But make sure that you grill them or boil them. Never eat them raw. Our next one is caterpillars. They're rich in iron, niacin, protein, thiamine, and vitamin B. You can fry them or eat them raw. That sounds horrible. It gives me chills. They're not all edible though. A rule of thumb on caterpillars is avoid any and all caterpillars with hair or fuzz. The hair carries toxins that can actually be fatal. So don't eat any caterpillars with hair or fuzz on them. So let me give you some pictures, and there's a couple of them that are toxin that I will show you those pictures as well. So hold on for just a moment. Okay, the next on our list is scorpions. Small holes under rocks and trees and limbs is where you'll find them. If you're around a lake or a river or any kind of a water source, they tend to like to hang out there. You can put them on a skewer and hold them over an open fire. I'm creeping myself out here, guys. But you have to always make sure that you cut off the stinger. You don't want the stinger. That's the part that will put you in a world of hurt if you eat that. There's poisons in the stinger. And if they sting you, most times, if you get to a hospital right away, it's not fatal. I have known some people that have been stung by scorpions out in the desert that they were pretty sick for a couple days, but they were fine after that. I guess it all depends on individual systems, you know, how your system is and what you can tolerate and what you can't. But avoid that at all costs if you can, because sometimes it is fatal. Let me show you some pictures, some nasty pictures of scorpions. Okay, our next yummy, delicious thing is termites. You can eat them cooked or raw. They're rich in protein. You can find them under downed trees, decaying stumps, and logs. As a matter of fact, I didn't think we had any termites here in Nevada, but my son-in-law said that he found some under a log that had been lying for a long period of time on the ground. So I'm not sure if they were maggots or termites, but he thinks they were termites. But I personally have never seen termites in the desert. Okay, let me show you some pictures of those little cuties. Okay, our next appetizer is snails. You can steam the snails, including the shells. When cooked, remove the body from the shell, and then you can eat the snail, but cook them in the shell. And why that you should cook them in the shell, I was not able to determine, but that's what all the survival books say. Cook the snails in the shells. So there you go. So here's some pictures of some snails. Next on the menu is centipedes. You can find centipedes under logs. You can boil or steam them. Don't eat them raw. They're healthy in carbohydrates. Don't eat the pinchers, the caterpillar, I can't talk. The caterpillars on the front, they have the pincher thingies. Don't eat those. Don't confuse caterpillars with centipedes, who have considerably more legs and emit toxins. Do not ever eat cockroaches, ever, under any circumstances. Never eat cockroaches. So let me show you some pictures of cute little centipedes. Okay, the next one is maggots. Doesn't that sound appetizing? You can actually cook or steam maggots, and they're actually good for you. They're high in protein. So let's take a look at some cute little wiggly maggots. Okay, next on the menu is slugs. You want to cook them thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly. They contain a parasite that can kill you if you eat it raw. So remember, no slugs raw, always cook them thoroughly. Toxic insects. As a general rule, avoid insects with bright colors, such as red, orange, and yellow. Stick with green or brown colored insects. Avoid insects emitting odors or near farms or neighborhoods because of pesticides. So you don't want to go out in your barn or in your vegetable fields or in your housing projects to go look for insects, because they could have been sprayed or ingested pesticides, and you don't want that. Excuse me. So next, let me show you some, well, no, I think I showed you all the pictures of the bugs. Next I want to show you some book covers, and there's 3 or 4 books that I found that are pretty interesting reading, and it's about edible bugs, and there's 3 or 4 different authors that I found books on this that are pretty good. So let me show you the covers of those books. If you're interested in reading about edible bugs and insects, then these are the books to purchase. So hold on. Well, thank you for joining me today. I hope that you learned a little bit of a survival tip as far as eating bugs. Like I said, I'd have to be really desperate to eat some of these things, but if you're starving, I mean, hey, they're good protein, they're good iron, and vitamin B. So you could survive on eating bugs if you really needed to, but you need to know which ones you can eat. Otherwise, you could poison yourself, and you don't want to do that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and take notes. Check out those books that I showed you, because they're good information, and they'll help you to maybe survive if you needed to. If something happened to your food supplies, or if you got stuck out in the wilderness, you never know. You really never know. So hope you enjoyed it. You have a great day. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.